The following is a production of 10 Ply Media.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Couch Thoughts podcast for this week. From a couch, I'm Rocky Persinger. With me, Brent Pickens.
What's going on, Rock?
What's up, Brent? So we're back again this week. We've had a pretty good week there. Today on the show, we're going to have a pretty cool one. We're going to first we're going to talk about what we've been playing this week, and then also we're going to get into the God of War series.
Yeah.
Which is a big one. We were looking up the story of each of the individual games.
Yeah. I mean, I beat them numerous times. 1 and 2, I probably played 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
The third one, I played 3 times. Now, I beat all of them, but what a story.
Yeah, so we're looking at this, God of War 1, pretty simple story. God of War 2, a little more, convoluted. Then God of War 3 is just the most ridiculous story of all time.
A lot of stuff going on there.
It's kind of like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Because Metal Gear Solid 1's pretty, it's even complicated. Then, you get into Metal Gear Solid 2, and then it's just the most ridiculous storyline you've ever seen in your life. So
I couldn't imagine being the writer and sitting down and just coming up with a story.
yeah,
I mean, it blows my mind. It really does.
I mean, I guess they probably had like a team of writers to come up with all this shit.
Yeah, but I mean, Santa Monica Studios, when they first started, they wasn't very big, and I can't that the main guy,
Corey Barlog.
yeah, he I don't know. It's just an impressive story. I mean,
Yeah, it's really impressive, but with the fourth game here that came out recently, they kind of reset the story,
yeah,
which I think was a pretty good idea, just because the God of War 3 got so crazy. But we'll get into God of War here in a little bit. For right now, Brent, what have you been playing this week?
this week I've been playing a little bit more Fallout. Of course, I know you just got around to beating it.
Yeah, I finally. So my list this week, Fallout 4. I finally beat it. One of the endings. There's 3 or 4 possible endings. Basically, you either side with the Institute or you side with the other 3 factions. But there's a couple different ways that it goes there. But yeah, I finally beat the game. Great game. It's just it was a long time coming. It's tough, man. There's a lot of grinding, a lot of side missions. Just
Nice.
that's the first time, like I said before, I just got overwhelmed
Yep.
with all the crazy shit, which is what happened with me with God of War 3, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, so
in a
is
little
that
bit.
the next one you're gonna try to beat there?
Well, I don't know. I've got a stack of games over there. So on my stack of games to beat, the Uncharted collection, which I think the only one I haven't really beaten is 3, and then Nier Automata, Shadow of the Colossus I got on PS4, PS3, and PS2, and I still haven't beat it just because the stupid sand
That's
worm.
tough. That's tough.
And then I've got Ease 8, which is the Lacrimosa of Donna or something like that.
We talk English on this show.
Well,
pal.
yeah, sorry, but Ease 8 for people out there who like Japanese RPGs, it's one of the most Japanese games ever. Then I got Persona 5, which is even more Japanese than Ease 8. Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
Arkham Knight, I actually beat that one. I don't know why it's in my to play pile.
I didn't. Arkham Knight. I didn't. I wasn't a big fan of that one. I think it was the car where you control the car, and like you have to go through. Part of you go as far as you can, then you have to take the car through it, and then I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't care for that one as much.
Yeah, I didn't really either. And
I don't know what they did. Because I loved Arkham Asylum.
The villain was kind of stupid too, and the
Yeah.
Arkham Knight, he was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Because the first 2 you had the Joker. I think that's what it was missing. was the Joker.
I mean, there's no better villain either.
I mean, he's the best villain of all time. Then I got Bloodborne, which is basically the Dark Souls from the From Software.
See, I've never played any of the Dark Souls games. I was at GameStop and I heard them talking, and one of the guys was saying, I guess you beat that game, and I guess it's like an RPG.
Yeah.
Well, you beat it, and then like the main guy there, he played it 3 or 4 times, and I guess the more times you play it through, the better armor and weapons you get.
Yeah.
So like he was all about it. I was like,
well, and you know, it's all those games are really hard. That's like their claim to fame or whatever. They're really hard. Bloodborne, I heard, is just the same. I played the first Dark Souls, which I think was actually called Demon Souls, and then they came out with Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. But the Demon Souls was pretty cool, and I don't know if the rest of the games are like this, but there was an online element to it. Like you were playing through your game, and somebody else could warp into your game and like try to kill you and shit.
oh shit,
Yeah, it was brutal.
that sounds tough.
And then the last one in my stack of games to beat is The Last Guardian, which is from the same development studio as Shadow of the Colossus and Ico.
Isn't that one you're the kid and there's a dragon following you around?
Yeah, it's like a feathered dragon. I don't know exactly. So, we weren't even going to go through that, but that's in my list of games I still have to beat. So I don't know if God of War 3 is going to be the next one or not. Because there's a lot of RPGs in there that you can put over 100 hours into easy.
Well, maybe you should start with the lower games. Like God of War is only like a 7-hour game.
That's true, but I don't know, man. It's so convoluted.
Now,
The story's insane.
Yeah, but it's a good story.
I mean, if you like Insanity, I guess it's a good story. I mean,
it's pretty good. I'm just saying, you need to free up your schedule, and you need to get around to beating it.
Man, there's just too many games.
I mean, it's only been 10 years.
Listen, 10 pal. Years. Listen, pal.
10 years. You hadn't made time to beat it?
Hey, at least, because I keep my games, at least I still got them.
Oh, burn.
How's that for you?
Oh, ouch.
That's how you like that with you trading.
That was a hit below the belt.
Why don't you go home and play God of War 3?
I mean, I got it on my PlayStation.
Why don't you put the disc in your PS3?
I don't need to, because I don't have my PS3 anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a long. I got a long list of regrets I've done, but yeah, you really need to make some time to beat it.
So what were we talking about? What you played this week?
Oh yeah. While I'm thinking of it, I got around to watching Rampage. Actually, it was last night.
Which is the Rock movie.
The Rock movie. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it.
Based on the video game.
Yeah.
Of the same name, from which I first played that on the regular Nintendo. It was an arcade game back in the day. Which you had these giant monsters, and you just went on a rampage through the city. Well,
this movie is it's really impressive what they did with it. And I really liked it. So I mean, like I said, I don't want to ruin anything. But
that's a hot take, though. I haven't seen it either, but a lot of people on the internet don't like that movie.
I don't know why, because the visual and everything. I mean, it looks.
I mean, to be fair, we like cheesy action movies.
Well, it's true, but I don't know this. I went into it. I didn't really have high expectations for it, because I was like, just a nut. But I mean, we watched it last night, and like. And it's a good family movie too, because there's not. I mean, it's a really good flick. You oughta.
Well, it's The Rock. But I mean, he's coming out with Skyscraper.
No, I don't know about that one, but
I'm pretty sure
Last Action Hero.
Like we said before, I'm pretty sure Skyscraper is just they took Rampage and photoshopped the monsters out of it.
Well, I mean, I could see it.
But yeah, so The Rock, like you're the Last Action Hero.
Yeah,
just like Arnold.
Yeah, that's right. He's in everything now, and I haven't really seen an awful movie he's done. I mean, Baywatch was kind of here and there, but I mean it.
Well,
I don't think Rock, he's been in a real bad movie recently.
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the WWE, we're big WWE fans, especially during the Attitude Era when The Rock and Stone Cold were in there. Yep. And, we were pretty pissed off that he went and made movies there, kind of abandoned the WWE.
He did, but...
Which, I mean, he still goes back every year at WrestleMania and says, I'm never going to leave you. And then what's he do?
Except tomorrow.
Except tomorrow, I got to go shoot a movie. But yeah, starting with the Rundown, and then the what was the movie where he's a sheriff? In the town.
Yeah, Walking Tall.
Walking Tall. That was an awesome movie.
Yeah. The only real bad movie I can think was when he was the Tooth Fairy. That's the only one. That's the only one I can really think. Because even the game playing movie, it wasn't awful.
If you haven't seen
Jumanji is real. And I seen on IGN they're doing another one in 2019.
Another
Jumanji.
All right.
So that's kind of cool. I liked what they did with the Jumanji. They kind of made it. Updated it, did away with board game, made it like a console type thing. And, I don't know. It was neat. And like I said, he's been in a lot of movies, and like I said, most of them's been pretty good. I haven't got around to watching San Andreas yet, but I seen it on there. I want to check it out.
That's one of those ridiculous movies like 2012. Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Where they drive the limo?
Yeah.
Did you see that? They drove the limo through the collapsing city.
Yeah, and the road's given away, and there's lava. Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was just stupid.
But then they did it with the plane later in the show, later in the movie.
Yeah, they did. Same. Or maybe I'm getting two movies confused. I don't know.
No, I think it's the same thing. I'm pretty sure.
And,
there's two different cities, I believe.
Okay, so they drove a limo through one, and then they flew a plane through another collapse.
Yeah, city. I mean,
sometimes your cities collapse.
Yeah, and then that movie upset me. But 2012, that's supposed to be the end of the world. Well, you had all this flood and stuff, but it wasn't the end of the world. Like, the movie ended and, like, they were rebuilt. I didn't understand that.
Well, I mean, maybe it's just I always say that, and like it's like Dwight said on The Office, this world kind of needs a new plague. Just get rid of, like, if you go to Walmart, you'll notice, like, oh, we need to kill a few off.
Yeah.
We need.
You don't want to tell me, I used to work there.
Yeah, we need to kill off a few. Such, here in West Virginia, we could stand to lose a couple people.
Oh, at least. I mean, I can think of a handful right now.
So I could see a flood coming through. I joke about that, but we have had some serious flooding here that's actually killed people. But,
yeah, that's.
Poor taste on my part.
Good thing we don't have very many viewers, or we'd be in
awkward.
trouble there.
Yeah, I know. Good thing the governor doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, that's. Whew.
Yeah, that would be a little rough.
Yeah, that's not good.
But yeah, so I watched, as far as movies goes, last night I watched Looper, which was, if you've seen the newest Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson wrote and directed the newest Star Wars. Well, he also wrote and directed a movie called Looper, which a lot of people didn't like the new Star Wars. I don't know how you felt.
I liked it. I really did. I don't understand all the hate it got.
Well, a lot of people just talk about how the way they did Luke, and like he's not the hero anymore. But like I don't know. I really like even at the end. Spoilers when he's like a hologram, he's projecting himself. That was awesome. So, but anyway, Rian Johnson made Looper. So a lot of people have been hating on Rian Johnson online. I don't know if you follow the whole Star Wars news cycle, Pickens, but there's a lot of people like they hated The Last Jedi, so they've been on Twitter like harassing the people who made it. Like they made.
Well, I see why they created a petition wanting it to.
They're going to remake it.
Yeah,
that's stupid. But they made Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose in the new Star Wars, they made her delete her Instagram.
Yeah, they were saying some really racial like things about her and how she wasn't like attractive enough to be. I don't know.
Yeah, which is completely ridiculous.
Yeah, I was like, man, that's. That's messed up. I mean, they talk about all this bullying and stuff, and there's people like just stalking her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, a lot of people hating on Rian Johnson. I actually like the movie, so I'm going back and watching his other stuff because I enjoyed it. Looper is an awesome movie. It has Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it.
Okay.
And he's got these prosthetics on. You can't really tell it's him at first, but then after a while you can kind of tell it's him. And basically what happens is 30 years in the future from this time, it's like 2044. So in 2074, they invented time travel. And apparently in the future, if the mob needs somebody killed, you can't dispose. It's really hard to dispose of a body. So what the mob does is they send people back in time to be killed, like if they want to kill somebody. So, and that's why they're called loopers. So they, somebody in the future commits a crime against the mob. Time travel is illegal, but they invented time travel. So they send them back, and then the looper kills the person from the future.
Huh.
It's a really kind of a crazy plot, but it's really good. I really like that movie. I thought it was awesome.
Huh.
It's like this whole time travel sci-fi
I'll have to check
type
it
thing.
Out.
And there's one really big star who's in it, but I don't want to ruin it because it's kind of a surprise when he shows up, and it's awesome.
Is Arnold in it?
It's not Arnold.
It should be Arnold.
It's not Arnold, but yeah, you should watch that one, Pickens.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
So yeah, was there anything else? You had another movie, I think.
Well, the only thing I wanted to bring up. I haven't heard a whole lot about it. I was watching game trailers the other day, actually yesterday, just looking for something else to play on the PlayStation, and I come across it was the Lost World.
That's right, the Jurassic Park
Evolution.
Yeah,
and I was kind of debating about getting it because it kind of, from what I looked at, it kind of reminded me of like Roller Coaster Tycoon or something like that.
Yeah, Theme Park.
Yeah,
whatever.
Sim Theme Park, where you're running, basically you're running the Jurassic Park, and you gotta, put up fences. You can evolve dinosaurs, but you gotta watch them. You gotta feed them, do all this. You gotta watch them though, because they'll break down the fence and they'll go eat the visitors to the park,
which is basically what happens every movie.
Yeah, so I was like, that might be kind of a cool, something different to play, So I don't know. I was just I didn't see it at Walmart. I don't think I really seen it at GameStop either. I seen it on the
PlayStation store. You'd have to buy it.
I don't think it's a PlayStation Network game, but I guess in 2012 they come out with a computer game like that.
Oh, really?
And they were talking how it was similar and stuff. So I was just wondering if anybody out there played it or if heard anything about it, because I'm thinking about getting it to try it out.
Yeah, which I mean, a lot of this stuff, like the Rampage movie, a lot of people didn't like it, or the Jurassic World game. Well, a lot of if you don't listen to the internet and you go play this stuff, a lot of it's actually really cool.
Yeah, and I don't understand how people didn't like. I
guess Rampage. I don't know if they hated Rampage, but it was just like, meh.
Because there's quite a bit of action, and the reason they're getting bigger and stuff. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Well, me and Pickens have similar taste in movies. We watch a lot of the 80s action movies, 90s action movies, and then even going back to the 50s and 60s with a lot of the westerns and stuff. We love that stuff. So, just because a movie is corny or something doesn't mean it's bad.
No. Well, that's what kills me with all these so-called where they review these movies and stuff, and they're like, oh, this was awful.
Yeah.
Like, I think Pixels, that Adam Sandler movie, it got awful reviews. I thought it was awesome.
See, I wasn't a huge fan of that.
Really?
I wasn't a big fan.
See, I liked what they did. It was.
See, I don't. Adam Sandler, man, it just.
I don't know. Adam Sandler's put out some shit lately.
Well, but I will say, Grown Ups was actually really good.
Grown Ups. Did you watch Ridiculous 6?
I did not.
It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's not bad. It's a Western.
I watched The Hateful Eight.
I watched
Tarantino.
I watched that one. That was pretty good. Samuel L. Jackson getting maybe a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, speaking of racial stuff there.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked it.
But, that is still the kind of the mission statement of this podcast, is to bring to light some stuff that most people don't, maybe, okay, well, the internet thought it sucked, so let's just not even mess with it.
Yeah, because a lot of people get on there and, okay, it got a low rating, or, it got this, and they don't even give it a shot because somebody said it was bad. Well, who's to say, just because their taste isn't what mine or yours or someone else's is, doesn't mean it was an awful movie.
Right.
Like Tropic Thunder. I thought it got awful reviews.
Oh, I thought that movie was hilarious.
I did too. I thought it was the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Like Tom Cruise in there. Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. That was a little much, but it was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that it was hilarious, but it was fucking hilarious.
I don't know. I don't know how they got away with the white dude playing the black guy, but it was funny.
Well, the whole intent of the whole blackface thing wasn't to, be racial.
Right.
It was just it's trying to be funny, and then at the end of the movie, he, reveals he's like this blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. But
I don't know. I love movies like that, and like I said, just because someone gives something a bad review, you gotta go out and watch it. Who cares what someone else said?
Speaking of that, I watched the remake of Death Wish again this weekend. My father-in-law rented the movie. He's like, "Hey, have you seen this?" And I thought he rented the original, and I was like, "Oh yeah, let's watch the Charles Bronson." But the new Death Wish, if you just separate it from Charles Bronson, the movies, take it as it is, it's pretty good.
You're lucky my mama don't hear you. She'll smack the shit out of you right now.
No, I'm saying, okay, it's not going to be as good as the Bronson movies, obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, but it's got, Bruce Willis is in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you like Bruce?
I love Bruce older now. I don't know. It's not like watching Die Hard in the 90s.
Have you seen Red?
I have not.
It's a good movie.
I mean, I heard. Was that Morgan Freeman and that redhead chick in it?
Yeah, and John Malkovich, I think, is in it too. But it was a pretty darn good movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, we're saying being open minded to these movies.
I remember watching the trailer to Death Wish, and I called you.
Yeah.
And what'd you say?
I said I'd never watch it.
Yeah, and somebody got around to watching it before I did.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying you should maybe give it a shot. We're talking a big game here of, hey, give these movies a shot that we haven't given a shot before.
Well, yeah, but I gave it a shot before.
Oh, boy.
The original Death Wish.
Oh, no.
So
that was one of our shoulda nevers last week.
Yeah.
Shoulda never remade Death Wish, but
yep.
All right. So, anything else you want to say about what you've been playing this week? I think that's about it for me.
I think that's it.
All righty. So we're going to get in now. We're going to get into a game that a lot of people know. But so it's not going to be one of those where not a lot of people know this game, but we want to talk about it. But it's the God of War series. We're going to talk about kind of our whole overview of the entire series, and like we were saying before, though, it's just the story and the branching, like, overarching thing. We were getting into an argument with one of our friends the other day about how he thought Nintendo was better than PlayStation.
Yeah.
Which is, Matt, our buddy Matt, he said that Nintendo's better than PlayStation. Now, he's been a Nintendo and an Xbox fanboy. He's never really given PlayStation a shot.
No.
Not even in the PS2 days.
See, my problem with the whole, you compare Nintendo, and the thing Matt kept bringing up, and it was wearing me out, was, well, they have Zelda.
They have Zelda, though.
Okay, they have Zelda. Okay, they have Mario. Okay,
Mario.
okay, that's fine. But other than the few core games that Nintendo has,
which we don't care about Smash Brothers,
no,
anything like that. Pikmin's awesome too.
But I mean, I'm not saying anything, but it's the same stuff that they've had since the 80s.
Yeah,
it's true. The same, and that's the thing I loved about Sony is because they're branching out. They're throwing new stuff out. They're not just putting the same thing out year in and year out. I mean, you have the sports games that are going to do that.
Yeah,
and
but that's not Sony. That's not Sony Entertainment.
Right. You know? So I mean. I guess that's what I love. You know, I've been a Sony guy since the beginning, since I got rid of my Sega. You know, so
that's what Brent did have a different path from me. I went from the original Nintendo, the NES, to the Super Nintendo, and then I got the 64, and then I got the Genesis. So I went back and played a bunch of Genesis games, and then from the 64, so I didn't have PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
From the 64, I went to PS2.
Yeah. See, I had the Sega. I had I had a lot of Sega games.
Yeah. So he went Genesis to PS1.
Yeah. And then I went from PS1 to 4.
To all. Yeah.
In between there, I got the 64. I played for a little bit. You know, only real reason I got it was because of Perfect Dark. I think you're the one who put me on it. I came over to your house and
Perfect Dark, the better version of GoldenEye. Yeah. There, I said it. I said it.
I mean, that was a really cool game for well, it's probably still cool now.
It is. I still have my Nintendo 64 hooked up right here. But our original point with the whole thing is, even when Nintendo brings out Mario and Zelda, Mario hasn't really been different since the Wii days. They brought him into 3D. They're still trying to chase Super Mario 64. Yeah. They're still trying to get back to that level. So they've never gotten as good as 64. Odyssey, the new game, came close.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Zelda, I know you've never played any of the Zeldas. Mm-hmm. Zelda was the same a lot of the way through. This new one, though, they did kind of reinvent it. Like, it came out, but they kind of went back to the original formula. With Sony, even with God of War here, which is what, back to what we're talking about today, they reinvent it, even though, okay, people might say, oh, they're just bringing out the same old games with Kratos and stuff. This new one proved that they're not just, they reinvented that franchise from the ground up.
They really did. I mean, and it has some iconic stuff from they put in it from past games.
Yeah, from
like the part with the vase. The vase it had on it has from the first one,
right?
Stuff like that. It's cool, but like I said, they put a whole different spin on it. And like I caught myself seeing previous stuff in it, and then I was like, damn, this is some all new stuff.
Yeah.
It's a new feel, but it's still the same game, if that makes any...
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, going back to the first game, the PlayStation 2 days, this was the heyday of PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
The PS2 was the peak of their whole run. It had the most games. It sold the most systems. Xbox came out later, so the PS2 had no competition there for a while because, Nintendo had the GameCube, which I love my GameCube, but, PlayStation ruled the world. It'd be like one of those VH1 specials when PlayStation ruled the world. Yep. So there's a lot of great games for PlayStation, but really one came out, which the Metal Gear Solid series for me is another one that's up there. But really, that started on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 2 for me, God of War, the original one and the second one, are the epitome of the PlayStation 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it to me, it really put the PS2 on the map. Like, as an action game. Because I can't really think... I mean, I'm sure there's some out there, but I can't really think if you think of PS2 and you think an action game. I mean, I remember the Siphon Filter games. They're more of a shooter, stealthy game. But when it came to And I think that was one of the first really on PS2 was where you have your weapons and you level up your weapons.
Yeah.
You know, and the more more orbs you collected, you level it up, and your power and everything goes up. And
well, as far as action games, you're kind of right. I mean, I'm looking over there at my PS2 games. There was the Prince of Persia series, which was kind of similar.
It came out a little later though, didn't it?
It came out a little. I don't know if the Sands of Time, the first one, it wasn't really influenced by God of War, but then God of War hit.
Yeah.
It was huge. And then the second Prince of Persia comes out called Warrior Within, and it's got like a Godsmack soundtrack, and it's basically God of War 2, like a copycat of it, kind of. So
well, there was a lot of copy. If you remember when Dante's Inferno came out,
I
was so pissed off because I played the demo, and I'm like, they stole this. His wife goes to hell and he has to go get her.
Yeah,
and he's fighting all these, and even the save the altar was the same. That ray of light, going down. I don't know. I was so mad, but you're right though. There was a lot, of copycat when it came after God of War really.
Yeah, and that's
on the map.
A lot of times when there's copycats of stuff, they're done wrong.
Yeah,
Dante's Inferno wasn't a terrible game, really. It was just a direct ripoff of God of War. So, what we're talking about here is a third person hack and slash game,
which occasionally you had some button smashing.
So and within the hack and slash, you had a bunch of combos.
Yeah.
You could do a certain combination of button presses, which they kind of took from fighting games.
Yeah,
because you had combos. Okay, you hit square, 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 triangle, triangle, and then it does this awesome move. And then the big bosses.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, God of War 1, you're working for Poseidon, and you kill the Hydra. And that's the second one.
No, second one.
See, I'm already getting confused because it's ridiculous.
Ares.
Okay, but so I'm trying to think the first big battle in God of War, because they have these huge, bosses.
Yeah.
But so anyway, that was 2. But anyway. So either way, there's these big.
Yeah, even if you're using 2 at the beginning, where you're fighting that damn giant statue, I can't remember the name of him.
Yeah, it's Colossus of Rhodes.
Yeah, the scale, the scale. Your guy looks like he's like an inch tall.
Yeah,
and you're looking up at this tower, but you're beating him up, and then once you get him down to a certain level, you have buttons will pop up on the map, and then a mini game pops up.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's just really the scale factor. The difference. What really blew my mind was when you're on Kronos's. You're climbing Kronos. You're scaling Kronos.
Yeah,
and the size factor, like how big he was compared to Kratos. It's really just. It's spectacular, if you just look at that part of it.
Okay, so I was right. You do kill the Hydra in God of War 1.
You do, but you're not working for Poseidon.
Well, but you're working for the gods.
Right.
At that point. And it says you kill the Hydra on behalf of Poseidon. So you're working for all the other gods that are not Ares, because Ares betrayed you.
Yeah, because that was the boss fight where once you got him down so low, like his head would drop, and you had to climb up on this platform, jump on it, and then that spear would go through his head.
Right, and then 2 more heads popped up or whatever. So that was the first fight. Is this huge Hydra monster, and we've never seen anything like that before.
Right,
and you're just slashing the shit out of it, and that. A lot of games copied that, like the Castlevania, the new Castlevania game for PS3. There were a lot of big bosses on there, which that game also borrowed from Shadow of the Colossus, where you had to climb the bosses. But
I That's another game you don't see just out somewhere.
There's nothing else like Shadow of the Colossus.
No.
But, and then there's these big boss fights in God of War, the first one, right off the bat, where, you're battling this Hydra, and there's, timed button presses when you finish off the boss. Like, that was... And then you see that every game started doing that. Like these timed, hit square now, hit triangle now, hit X now. Every game started doing that, and it got too played out just because that just tells you how influential God of War really was.
Oh yeah.
And to every game after it tried to copy it.
Yeah. Well, even when that Conan game come out, it was the same. It was along the same lines.
Yep. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto when it came out. Everybody, everything had to be a big open world with these objectives on the map that you had to go, go to. But, so God of War, the original one, I think I actually rented this game first.
See, I went and I bought it.
Yeah, Pickens went it right out. He knew from right off it was going to be legit.
Yeah,
just from commercials.
Well, the commercials and the case, it jumped out. It just jumped out to you as an action game. It's something you had to have. And like I said, I've been numerous times.
And I rented it so many times that I beat it. Which so many times as in like 3 weekends in a row I rented it, beat it. And for that reason, I never bought the original God of War. I still don't own a copy of it just because I rented it until I beat it. And I still have the original God of War 1 save file on my memory card. But I never owned the game. But yeah, just playing that game. So the gist of the story, which we won't get into it too much, it's a simple story though. In the first one, my point is it's simple. And then the more games you get into, the crazier it gets.
Right.
So the story in the first one, Kratos was a Spartan warrior. He's fighting the barbarians. He gets beat by a barbarian king, and as he's dying, he calls out to the god of war Ares to help him out. He says, if you help me defeat this guy, I'll work for you. Your life's mine. So Ares gives him the famous chains,
Blades of Chaos.
Blades of Chaos, and the chains of chaos around his forearms. Ares binds him to that, and with those he defeats the barbarian king. Then he's working for Ares, just ravaging everywhere, killing.
Yeah, I think he has over thousands in his army. And they're tearing everything up.
Yeah, so this big Spartan army. So then, one point, Ares asks Kratos to go take down this one town or this city. Kratos rolls up in there, and in a blind rage, unbeknown to him, Ares has put his wife and daughter inside this temple that Kratos goes in and kills everyone inside. So Ares forces him to kill his own wife and daughter. He thinks it's going to set him free and make the ultimate warrior, but he gets pissed off at Ares, disavows him. The oracle at the temple where he killed everybody, and they burned the temple afterwards. She took the ashes of his daughter and wife and put it all over Kratos' skin, which is why he has this white skin. And he's called the Ghost of Sparta,
which is the best nickname that you could have.
Ghost of Sparta
it's
legit.
They even use that in one of the PSP titles of a God of War game they did.
Yep.
Which it's pretty cool.
So then Kratos is working for the other gods, and then Athena tells him to go kill Ares, and he'll be forgiven of all his sins of killing his wife and daughter. So he decides that, and then Athena also tells him that he needs to get Pandora's box to do that. So he gets Pandora's box. He becomes huge. He fights Ares. He kills him. And then, he decides that, he's still not forgiven for his wife and daughter. So he tries to plunge himself off a cliff.
Yep.
Tries to kill himself, which we're trying we were as we're going through, we're trying to keep track of how many times Kratos actually kills himself.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, he
he puts himself down.
I'd like to know how many times he was in hell too.
Yeah, he's in hell at least 3 times that we know of.
Yeah.
But then Athena intervenes and makes him the god of war. So at the end of the game, you're sitting on the throne as the new god of war. Pretty simple story.
Yeah.
You know, Ares did you wrong. You kill Ares, you take over.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. You know, and you know, just a really groundbreaking game.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you know, as far as you upgrade your life, there's a bunch of secrets going around. There is a fixed camera. You know, in the first 3 games, I believe.
Yeah, and that's kind of rough to play with because you can miss a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
because you're trying to look, but it's hard. And if you don't get a lot of times, if you don't get something before a cutscene, that's your only, you know, but right before the cutscene is your only chance to get it.
Right.
So you can miss out on that.
Yeah, you can miss out on stuff, which you know you get things to upgrade your health and your magic. And then also your weapons. You upgrade your weapons, craft. You get more combos as you unlock them. You know, that really cool in that way. So there's some light RPG elements in there too, while you're just hacking and slashing and killing everything. You know, so just Kratos. You know, the man has anger problems.
He has some anger issues.
Which you know, the Spartan Rage is like your biggest move in all of it.
Yeah, you just click down L3 and R3. I think it was L3 and R3.
Yeah. Well, at least it is in the new games. I think it was in the old games.
I'm pretty sure it was too. And you just go, you know, once your bar is full, you can't be killed. You're on fire, and you're you know, tearing them up.
Yep. So, you know, God of War 1, great game. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about it.
Not that I can think of.
So it was a great game, but there's still some stuff that could be improved on, you know. And then they come out with God of War 2 a few years later. This game is probably my favorite God of War game.
Yeah.
It's kind of tied with the newest one, you know.
Yeah.
But this one I bought day one.
Oh yeah.
You know, this was the day I pre-ordered it probably.
Yep.
Pre-ordered it, bought it. I didn't just rent it this time, you know. And what a damn game. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah. I mean, and on this one you unlock so many different things. I think on this one you get is it Perseus' shoes?
You get Perseus' shoes, Icarus' wings.
You get no, that's the third one.
That's the third one. But you know, this one this one is where the story gets a little complicated. I'm not even going to go through it because it's a little too ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't played it yet, I mean, shame on you. But yeah, the story is out there. I think at one part you get you have a point where you can rewind time or slow it down.
Yeah, slow it down.
And you know, but it's crazy. But I mean, basically on this one, you're rounding up the Titans to mount a war on Olympus
because Zeus basically tricked you. There's this Colossus at the beginning of the game. That's the big Colossus you were talking about.
Yeah.
Zeus tricked you to drain your powers out into the
blade of Olympus.
Blade of Olympus.
Yeah.
So basically, you get pissed at Zeus, and you're going to go gather all the Titans, and you're going to, you go to the Sisters of Fate so they can reverse time, and you can go back and kill Zeus before he kills you, because he kills you at the beginning of God of War 2, stabs you through the stomach.
Yep.
And sends you to hell. So there's, Kratos going to hell again.
Yep.
Because I believe he goes in the first one too. Does he not go in the first one?
I don't think so.
Doesn't he have to go there to get Pandora's box in the first one? And that's where the Gravedigger helps him out.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So he goes to hell in the first one. He goes back to hell in the second one. And he's going to go to hell in the third one.
Those damn hellhounds. You kick them and then like 3 more pop up.
And technically in the fourth one, you go to
you're
the hell.
You are, because, Zeus talks to you.
Zeus talks to you there in the fourth one. But, so you go back in time. You stop Zeus from killing you. You try to kill Zeus. But then he goes back up on Olympus, and then you gather the Titans, and you're going to go fight.
Yep.
That's still a pretty not complicated story.
Yeah, and the battles in there, when you're fighting them, they're pretty cool.
But this one, with just the powers that you get with the wings and slow down time and Perseus's shoes and all that stuff, it just took it to a whole other level, And I remember fighting the Colossus of Rhodes at the beginning of the game.
Oh,
the big statue. That was awesome, I will say,
I got stuck on the second one. There was a part, I can't remember what it was, but I called my buddy. This is when I was playing through the second time or something.
And we got to talk about our buddy Steve.
Yeah, we do. Shout out to Steve Grigsby, man. I've never seen anybody dominate God of War the way this guy does.
The only other person I've seen is my roommate in college. His name was Andy. He dominated it just like Steve did.
Apparently, okay, if you beat it on hard, I think it's hard, you unlock God mode.
God mode, yeah.
Well, then on God mode, you can't be killed. When you play through the next time, you just roll through.
Yeah.
I'm probably 5-6 hours into the game, and Steve
we're stuck on like medium difficulty.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the game, the medium, when you're fighting that statue, the Colossus, your health is like, if it's on hard, you have like a centimeter of health.
Yeah, you just can't get hit.
Yeah, so I don't even know how you play on hard. I played through I think I beat that one on normal.
Yeah,
that's the best I could do.
And God of War 1, just talking about the difficulty of these games, I don't know how these people beat them on God mode either. On normal, I had to kick it down to easy to beat Ares.
I did too, because I'm fighting Ares, and I get him down to where health is low, and he just kills me.
Yep.
And I played it like 30 times, and finally I got pissed off and turned it down to easy.
You kick it down to easy. That's the only way we could beat Ares. A lot of people are going to call us bitches for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's the way it had to be. These games are hard, man.
Yeah.
You got to do it. There's a lot of dodging.
Oh yeah.
And stuff. But God of War 2, they really streamlined the controls. Like, it just felt good.
Yeah.
And that's why God of War 2 is kind of, and then the powers you get, and the story is pretty cool. When you're going back in time, you're fighting your way through hell. You're getting the Gaia, and you're killing Titans.
Yeah.
That's why God of War 2 is one of my favorites.
The thing I love about God of War 2 also, I mean, 1 had puzzles and stuff, but on 2 it really had the puzzles you had to really work with, and the spikes in the ground popping up, and there's a lot of problem solving on these games too, trying to figure out the puzzles. And
yeah, that's one thing that we haven't brought up yet is all the puzzles. So you'll have this big action set piece, and then you have this big boss battle, but then you also have these puzzle solving elements to it as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of box pushing.
Yeah.
Pushing big boxes around to and pulling levers and stuff like that, which is another thing that a bunch of games copied.
Yeah.
As far as, the puzzle solving mechanics. And so Prince of Persia is a good example of that as well, of, the puzzle solving aspects. One thing in Prince of Persia they introduced was the time, you could reverse time if you died. That was really cool. I love Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. The first one is one of my all-time favorite PS2 games. It's probably in my top 5. But yeah, so we're God of War 2, just a great game. It was a day one purchase. Still one of my favorite, probably my favorite PS2 game.
Yeah.
God of War 2. Maybe besides Metal Gear Solid 3. I might put Metal Gear Solid 3 up there, which I don't know if you ever played the third.
No. I never played those games all the way. I don't even know if I ever really owned them.
See, which is weird because you're a big PlayStation
I know.
guy.
I had on PlayStation, I think it was the original. I had that the 6-pack thing.
Yeah, the demo.
I had the demo, and I remember playing the demo a lot, and I really enjoyed it. But for some reason, I never bought any of the Metal Gears until the one on PS3.
Yeah. Well, and so I'm Metal Gear 4 was all. A lot of people didn't like 4 on the PS3, but I loved it. Metal Gear is probably one of my. It's one of my favorite series of all time. But God of War is up there.
Yeah.
So then the third game comes out.
I'll tell you something on the third one. I pre-ordered this. Me and Steve went out at midnight and picked this thing up, and I got. I don't remember how much it was, but when I bought it, it came with. I got the special edition one, and it was a Pandora's box.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And it had the concept booklet you flip through, and there's all kinds of pictures, and of course the game, and
special edition that came with the game. Imagine that.
Yeah, back when things were simple.
Yeah. But God of War 3, I had a little bit of a falling out with the series.
I don't understand because on this one. It's your goal. You're just going after the gods. You're going to bring them all down. You're going to kill them all.
Well, I mean, which he does. He kills all of them.
He takes Hercules out. That's his brother.
Yeah, well, we find out in God of War 2 that Kratos is actually Zeus' son.
Yeah.
So in God of War 3, basically the story is kill all the gods, right? And the Titans. Kill all the Titans, kill all the gods.
Guy screwed up, and she made an enemy out of Kratos, so Kratos chops her arm off and she falls.
So here's a few things that Kratos does in the game. He kills Poseidon, which floods Greece. Okay? He kills Hades, which releases the souls of the underworld. He kills Helios, which causes Greece to be under eternal darkness.
And when he kills Helios, he takes his head.
He kills Hermes, that releases a plague on Greece. He kills Hercules. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out. He kills Hera, which ends all Greek plant life. And then he kills Zeus, which basically destroys Mount Olympus and destroys Greece.
One of the best scenes of that game, I think, is when you're scaling Olympus, and Hades is up there, Poseidon's up there, Zeus, is it Perseus and Helios?
Yeah.
All of them standing up there.
You might have killed Perseus in the last one, but either way, Helios.
They're all standing up there, and they've had their own falling out and stuff, but they're like, we got to stick together. We got to make sure Olympus doesn't fall. And then Poseidon jumps down in the ocean, and it's been a while since I played it, but that's one of the scenes.
Yeah, that's the very beginning.
Yeah, that's one of the game. That's one of the scenes that really just jumped out to me, and I don't know. I really liked it. There's a lot of stuff going on.
And you go to hell again and fight your way out of hell.
Yeah, you go to hell. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. But
I wrote down just the cliff notes of the story here, and it's a page long in my notes. It's a little. I don't know. It just got too much for me, man. And the game was all hard and shit. I was like, I pussed out on it.
I'm gonna start calling you Charmin.
Now.
That's right. It was just soft.
Oh boy.
I'll tell you.
Boy.
You gotta make time big. I know there's a lot of stuff going on, but the ending fight when you fight Zeus on this gold pier, and I don't know, it's insane.
Yeah, I never beat God of War 3, even though I own it over there. It's sitting over there on my shelf now.
I tried to beat it on hard. I made it to Zeus, and there's 3 stages when you're fighting Zeus, and I made it to the 3rd one, and I just could not get past, so I had to crank it down to normal.
Sons of bitches. All right, little text there. All righty. But God of War 3, I fell out with it. Pickens loves the game. He beat it how many? 3 times?
At least 3 times.
At least 3 times he beat it. I don't know, man. I couldn't get into it. But
I don't know how.
So I'm just gonna. If you want to say anything about God of War 3, I'll beat it one day. I will beat it one day. I've said this for 12 years now, but I will beat it one day.
I don't know. It's been 12 years.
I don't know if it's been 12, but it's been at least
up
10.
There. It has been up there.
But so I'm just gonna let you take it away if there's anything else you want to say about God of War 3, because I'm not a huge fan of it, honestly.
Well, all right. Here's another note. At the end of it, when you are, I'm pretty sure it's Zeus, and you are just on top of him, just pummeling him, punching him.
You do kill him with your bare hands,
and then you put your fingers in his eyes, and then and he's trying to crawl away, and you drag him by. It's one of the most brutal scenes in a game I've ever seen.
Well, and that's another thing about God of War we haven't really mentioned is the ridiculous amount of violence.
It is a brutal game, but through 1, 2, and 3, and even the new one, I don't know if I've seen that much brutality than when he's fighting Zeus.
Yep.
At the end, and he has Zeus beat, and he's on top of him. It's insane.
He kills his own father. There's some crazy shit about Pandora's box and Athena.
Yep.
And then, so at the end of God of War 3, Kratos attempts to kill himself to bring hope back to the world and reestablish the world. But yeah, so you want to talk about the post-credit scene?
Yeah, because at the end of it, he gets stabbed with...
stabs himself.
Well, he stabs himself.
Well, he gets stabbed and then he stabs himself.
Yeah. Anyway, it's the Sword of Olympus. It goes through him. And you think, it kills him and Zeus. He's already killed Zeus, but he's laying there. I'm pretty sure he's dead. All of a sudden, after the credits roll, you see bloody footprints just walking away into blackness. So that's all you hear about. I mean, that's all you see. So you're like, is this the end? Are they done with, because for years, the God of War creators, they're like, we're done. We're going a new route with it. We're not going, Kratos, we're done,
They were going to make something completely different.
Yeah,
right?
that is. Yeah. They, as far as everybody knew, they were done. They were done with the God of War franchise. They were going to try something different. And, because, all you see is bloody footprints going away. So you're like, is he dead? What's going on? And then I don't know how many years later, then you hear that they're doing another, God of War, and
so let's the original God of War was released in 2005. God of War 2 in 2007.
The first one was 2005?
First one was 2005.
Seems like it was older than that.
It's 2007. God of War 3 was 2010. So it's only been 8 years since God of War 3.
Huh.
And then there's a lot of PSP games. I will mention we're not going to talk about the PSP games here because we haven't really played them.
Yeah.
And then in 2018, you've got the new God of War, which they've just called it God of War again.
Which is hard, I wish they would have went something else, because when you say God of War, a lot of people think that's the first one.
Yeah. So this one, we just call it God of War PS4, I guess.
Yeah.
We thought they were going to go away from God of War. We didn't know they were going to make another one. And then, so they decided to basically reboot the whole franchise.
Yes.
And this new God of War comes out, and you see the previews for it 2 years ago at E3, I think.
Yeah.
Might have been 2015. I'm not sure. But you see previews for it, and Kratos has a son now.
Yeah.
He had a wife.
Yeah, he's hunting.
He's hunting with his son. And you're like, what the hell is going? How did this happen? Because in the last one, he attempted to kill himself, and he had destroyed the whole world in the process.
Yeah.
So you're like, what? How the hell? But you get into playing the game, and you don't really care.
Yeah.
Even though it's the story has been ridiculous. God of War 3 had the most ridiculous, convoluted story in the history of man, and God of War 4. We'll just call it God of War 4. Screw it. It starts out. He's went over to like Scandinavia, I guess. And he has all these the Norwegian gods or whatever, right. Thor and Loki and Odin, all these gods, and he's just trying to live his life. You know, Kratos he's retired. He's a retired god now.
He's just hung it up.
He's getting that god pension plan. He had pretty good benefits.
It didn't have bad benefits.
So he has a wife and a son. And then his wife dies at the start of the game.
Yep. I will say, the opening scene when he's standing at the tree with the axe, I thought that was the main. I thought it was the main menu, and then it pops up and it says hit R1, and he swings the axe into the tree. Like that just blew my mind
because the graphics are so ridiculous in the gameplay that you think it's a cutscene.
Yeah,
the whole time, and Well, the thing about this, in the previous games they had cutscenes and then gameplay, and then cutscenes and then gameplay. This one is just all one seamless thing.
Yeah.
And so this is just there's a lot of scenes that stand out. Yeah. When basically the whole story of the game is you're trying to take your wife's ashes to the highest peak in all the 9 realms and scatter her ashes. And then there's just this huge, long adventure along the way.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of shit that goes on, and
your son, he eventually finds out he's a god and all this stuff, and that Zeus was his grandfather, and
because the whole time Kratos don't want to tell him, he don't want him to know any of this.
But a couple scenes that stand out when you first see the witch,
Freya,
who you later find out is Freya. You try to kill one of her boars, her hogs, and she takes it back, and it opens up into this garden, and the game up to this had just been snow. And it opens up into this garden with this giant turtle that she lives underneath of, which was awesome. So that scene really stood out to me. Another one is when you actually get to what you think is the highest peak in the game. You can see out over the whole thing. Another one is when you get to the lake that serves as the central hub of the game.
Yeah,
that was all. Just seeing all this crazy. When you realize it's basically an open world game now. Yeah. The other 3 followed this linear path.
Yeah, I mean, you go off of it, but pretty much it was one. There wasn't any straying off of it. On this one, you can. There's a bunch of side quests. Yeah.
For the dwarfs that make your weapons and stuff. The upgrading of the weapons and armor just went to a whole other level.
Yeah, it did.
First it's just you and your son traversing all this stuff. Then you get, and I forget his name, the guy you chop his head off.
Oh yeah.
You put him on your belt.
Yeah, he's always talking, saying. He says interesting stuff, and he's talking to your son about stuff.
Yeah, and he's basically the smartest man in the world.
Yeah.
And you chop his head off. Freya reanimates his head, and you carry him on your belt.
Yeah, because he was grown. For some, I can't remember what.
I'm pretty sure Odin imprisoned him in that tree. Right?
Yeah, he was stuck. He basically intertwined him with the tree. So,
yeah.
I don't know. So I was kind of surprised Odin didn't. You didn't see Odin, you didn't see Thor, well until after the end. But
yeah, we're probably going to spoil the game here, guys, because there's a couple things we like to talk about. So if you've stuck with us this long, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you haven't beat God of War, definitely probably just tune out at this point, because after we talk about these spoilers, we're probably going to be done for this podcast. But so warning, spoilers, God of War 4. So, you know, after, so you get up, you get to the highest point in the realms, and then they say, "Oh, well, that's not the highest point in the realms.
Yep.
In the giants realm, there's a higher peak."
Yep.
So you roll over there, and I'm just going straight for the big spoiler here. You see this mural on the wall that predicts future events. And we still don't know what all of it's going to mean. But you find out that your wife was a frost giant.
Yep.
You were a god, and your son is Loki.
Yeah. See, I thought the guy you fought at the beginning was Loki.
Yeah, who actually turned out to be Balder.
Yeah.
I think's his name. Yeah.
He can't feel pain.
He can't feel any pain. He's Freya's son.
Yeah.
He's the main bad guy in the game.
And then you kill him, and Freya gets pissed at you.
Yeah, that's the last boss fight of the game, which I was kind of surprised about.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more.
It didn't really feel like a huge, God of War into the game fight.
No, it didn't.
Because it wasn't that hard either.
No.
Which I played this one through on normal again. I didn't crank it up to hard or anything like that. But so your son is Loki, and then there's this one mural at the end that shows a snake coming out of Loki's mouth, and then Kratos is dying in his arms.
Yep.
And if you look at the Norse mythology, there's a word I was looking for a little bit ago. If you look at the Norse mythology, Loki gave birth to the world serpent. And then when Ragnarok happens, Thor and the world serpent fought so hard that the clash of them sent the world serpent back in time. So it's going to get the second one. They're going to make a sequel.
Yeah,
they got to. It's going to get really messed up. Okay, Loki gave birth to the world serpent, and then it got sent back in time to help Loki when he was, a kid with Kratos. And then apparently Kratos is going to die at some point based on that mural. We don't really know.
Yeah, that mural was it was crazy to see that too, because that was one of the big things that you just didn't see, because
huge twist.
Yeah, huge twist, and you see it, and the guy that they're carrying around on the thing, they're like, this is it showed everything they've fought, everything they've come through, to do.
And you fought everything in this freaking game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One of the complaints, I do have a little bit. There's not a big variety in enemy types.
Yeah.
You fight kind of the same big trolls. You fight the same big ogres or whatever. A lot of the boss fights are just those big troll things with the giant stone that they hit the ground with. So, but the story was so great that you didn't care.
Yeah.
That it was kind of repetitive. That's my only knock against it, really, is it did get a little repetitive with the boss fights.
And Kratos is kind of a dick.
Well, Kratos is a dick.
The whole.
And he calls boy, come and read this. Boy, translate.
Yeah.
He is a huge asshole to his son, but so. Overall, this new one, man, is a hell of a game.
Yeah, it was.
You go to 4 or 5 realms. You go to hell again.
Yep.
You leave Balder down there one time talking to Freya, but then he claws his way back out of hell, apparently.
Yeah. At one point you see Zeus down there.
You see Zeus down in hell.
And he says something, because you have to... you had to get out within a certain amount of time.
Right.
And
you ride this big ship, this big floating blimp ship up out of hell. But so then there's a post-credits scene if you go back to your house from the beginning that Thor shows up. And I guess he's pissed.
I think it was like 5 years later or something.
Yeah. And so you killed one of the bosses in the games were these 2 brothers. I think they were Thor's brothers.
I think so.
So you killed Thor's brothers, and he gets pissed.
Yep.
And he's coming after you. So there weren't a lot of the major just like God of War 1, there weren't any of the major Greek gods in it.
Right.
You know, God of War 2, you got a couple. Then God of War 3, they just threw every Greek god imaginable in there, and you killed every one of them. So, you know, this one, there's going to be sequels. I figure it'll kind of go the same way.
Yeah.
You know? They'll throw a lot of more Norse gods out there.
Yeah.
So, really looking forward to what's going on there. What's going to happen. Cory Barlog is, you know, there's going to be a sequel. I guess they wrote enough for like 3 games.
Yeah.
And then they decided it was all going to be one game, but they decided they had to break it up. And I think really, you know, he was burnt out on the whole God of War thing, but I think switching to the Norse gods instead of the Greek gods really, you know, made it fresh, and he likes working on it again.
Yeah.
So. There are a lot of great, after you play the game, there's a lot of great spoiler discussions with Cory Barlog, the creator of the game, with IGN and GameSpot and a couple other sites interviewed him like an hour long about the spoilers in the game and stuff like that. I definitely recommend you watch those because he gives some really cool insight. Well, not just this one, but all 4 of the games.
Well, it's interesting, too, when you beat this one. This is one of the only ones that when you beat it, it's still open. You can go back and find stuff and, you know, get stuff.
Yeah.
And fight enemies. And
you can find, there's a lot of optional bosses like the Valkyries.
Yeah.
Which I haven't beat yet because they're impossible.
Yeah.
Really hard to beat those. But just a great game. They took God of War, what was awesome about God of War, and then expanded it into this open world, you know.
Well, see, I thought it was cool. You know, you have that axe, that Lithian axe or whatever.
Leviathan axe,
axe. And then halfway through the game, I don't know, because it don't really do good on Frost.
Yeah, Frost. Yeah, halfway through the game, yeah.
Yeah, you go back and you had your Blades of Chaos under your house or something.
And that's what you, on the boat ride back to your house, you see the ghost of Athena.
Yeah.
That's how they really connect it to the previous games.
Yeah, which I thought that was neat, you know, that you know, you had that connection between the games.
Yeah, that was really cool. You know, so Kratos still kind of haunted by his past, but you know, and then he got a new wife, and she died.
Yep.
So it really just an unlucky dude, Kratos is. But you know, we're going to look forward to the sequels of the new God of War PS4. So, Brent, anything else you want to say about that one?
I think we covered everything I was wanting to get to.
All right. Well, so there are thoughts on God of War. We want to rank the games real quick, like put them 1 through 4.
Yeah, we can do that.
So I think I got my list ready here. So I'm going to go 2 is my favorite, then 4, then 1, then 3. That's my ranking.
Huh.
3's last. That's right.
There's
I said
something else. I'll tell you.
3's last. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the official ranking. All right, guys, that does it for this
here
week.
We go. I don't know how you rank it. How you rank 3 last? It has the most action.
Yeah, but it's the most ridiculous.
I know. That's why it should be 2.
2. What's first?
The second one.
So you go 2, 3, 4, 1.
Yep.
And the OG.
Yep.
You gonna throw it down like that?
Yep.
Man, 2, 3, 4. You like 3 better than 4?
Yes.
You crazy, man.
Yep.
You
I said
crazy.
it.
3's last.
Nope.
That's the official show list. That's right.
You're not allowed to even talk about 3.
2, 4, 1, 3.
You go through and delete where you talk about 3.
2, 4, 1, 3.
No, you're not allowed to talk about 3 until you play it, until you beat it.
Well, I played a pretty good portion of it.
Oh, played a pretty good portion of it.
Oh, okay. Here we go. You know, you show up here in your Macho Man tank top and you think you can just boss everybody around.
That's right.
I ain't Elizabeth.
Might as well be.
Oh, might as well be just because I don't play.
I bet she probably played 3.
Oh, my God. I doubt Elizabeth played video
Nope, she
games.
played it.
All right, guys. So the official show list.
Elizabeth played it. That's right.
2, 4, 1, 3. That's the official rankings.
Yeah, he's not allowed to talk about 3. He hasn't beat it.
Oh boy, here we go.
That's right.
All right. So
that's right.
No. Okay. So, guys, we're going to sit here on the couch and argue about the rankings of the God of Wars here for a little while longer, but we won't make you sit through that. So, from a couch this week, this has been the Couch Thoughts Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. Just search the Couch Thoughts Podcast. On Twitter at Couch Thought Pod. No S in thought. And then on Podomatic and iTunes, just search for the Couch Thoughts Podcast. We should pop up. This has been our 4th episode here, or 5th episode. Sorry, I think we're on 5 now. So, guys, thanks for listening. Until next week, peace.